looking to learn more about rental arbitrage, you came to the right place. We are going to be going live with Sarah Pell today, and she's going to be telling us all about how she became financially free. Financially free, wow, I can't talk today, guys. Through rental arbitrage, short-term rentals, and long-term rentals, all from living in a van. Here she is. I'm going to be adding you on. Should bring you in. There we are. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited. So this is your first ever live?
Yes, yes, I'm so excited, but a little nervous because it's live.
Of course, which is fine. But, just a regular conversation here. And, I've listened to a few of your podcasts, actually. So you're a natural. You don't have to worry at all.
Thank you.
Well, do you want to get started by telling us, introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about how you got to where you are today and what your portfolio looks like?
Yeah, definitely. So I did not start at all with like a real estate background. Even my family is not real estate. Investors or agents were actually teachers. So I'm from Pierre, South Dakota, and I actually went to college at the University of Sioux Falls, where I studied elementary education, and I ended up teaching elementary ed for 4 years. And during that time, I met my husband, who actually was into real estate. So he was kind of doing the fix and flips and just some house hacking as well. But I guess I didn't really pay attention or care because I was just doing my teaching and my thing, and that's what I was going to do. And then in 2019, after we got married, he decided he wanted to go on the road as a union electrician. And so with that, we decided to buy a camper. So I was going to go with him. So I decided to step away from teaching. So I gave like my leave of absence. And then it was only supposed to be 2 years, was kind of what we were just testing it out, something fun. But during that time in Sioux Falls, we did keep investing. So we bought long-term rentals, duplexes. And so we did use a property manager for that. And then, yes, we went on the road and we're loving that. Our first big trip was Vegas. And after we got married, we combined our finances too because we were Dave Ramsey people. And we went through his course. So with that, then I started getting more involved with more like finances and like looking like, okay, these are like investment properties, but they're not feeling that way. So due to like a bad property manager. And then in 2022 is when we bought our first short-term rental in Orange Beach, Alabama. And so I listened to Bigger Pockets, and with Avery and Luke Carl in the short-term shop is how I decided our next investment, instead of long-term, I wanted to try short-term rentals and specifically remote because that's what they promote. They have a lot of in the Smoky Mountains where they live in Florida. So yeah, we did that. We bought it sight unseen. Actually, the day we closed is when we were there, and we only went there because we were in Tennessee, so it wasn't that far of a drive down to Alabama. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, that really sparked my love of hospitality and hosting people. And so since then, I've tried to find other ways to keep acquiring short-term rentals, but with not the big down payment because we had to put 25% down. So that was quite a lot. So then I ventured into arbitrage and co-hosting through Jorge Contreras. I heard him on a podcast talk about arbitrage, and I was like, that'd be awesome. And so actually, I got my first co-hosting client instead of my first arbitrage. But yeah, so today we own 2 short-term rentals and 1 long-term duplex. We sold off the others and did some 1031 exchanges, and then I arbitrage 4 units and manage 6 for other owners.
Wow. So you kind of dipped your toe into the short-term rental game, then you found co-hosting, and then you found arbitrage. And it's just, I love this because
Yeah.
it's not like you were so set on just one. It's kind of like you pivoted. You were comfortable
Yeah.
in the pivot into what best fit your life needs in that moment. And I love this.
Yes, yeah, for sure. I felt like a little green and like, I'll take anything, but no, it's worked out really well. And so, yeah, I like it. I like, I guess, all my investment avenues.
Dang. And are you guys still in the van?
No, so not for the winter. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a fifth wheel camper. We are staying in an Airbnb now just because we're in Iowa. And so we've never spent a winter in our camper. And I was like, no, especially now
Yeah.
Airbnb so big. I'm like, let's just rent something furnished.
Yeah, that'd be a bit cold.
Yes. Hmm.
But like during the summers and spring, you guys are still in the camper.
Yeah, yep. So we just moved out in November. But yeah, we've been in the camper and yeah, for the past 6 years actually now is
Wow.
our home. So yeah, we don't technically have a primary home. We just have our investment properties and yeah, the camper's been home.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. So, did you feel like being in the camper helped, like, was like a monumental pivot to helping you get through, like, doing all of these things next? Or do you feel like, because I know some people are considering, going and like minimizing and moving into a
Yeah.
camper. So it's like, how monumental was that, like, pivot in your journey?
Yeah, I think, I mean, honestly, even before that, like I said, we did Dave Ramsey's course. I'm not saying you have to, but I think that's the biggest thing is like getting your own personal finances in order.
Mhm.
So we like paid off my student loan debt, we paid off my car debt, we bought the camper in cash and our truck by selling. We did sell a duplex that I kind of wish we still would have had today, but so we did those things in order to, yeah, be financially free, I guess, which allowed us to live in the camper. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, camper life, like so easy. But like, just to be real, like we were paying $1,000 this summer for our rent, our
Wow.
camper lot. So that's not even like if we had a camper payment, that's on top of it. And then if we had a truck payment too. So I mean, I think you could do minimalistic even at your house,
Yeah.
like in your house, I think. So I don't think it was like more pivotal. I think what we did like leading up to that and just knowing, I guess being intentional with our finances and knowing we wanted to pay like in cash for the camper and like
Yeah.
those things. So that I guess, yeah, allowed us to be a little bit more free and obviously have more money to spend or put towards our investments.
Oh, that's amazing. I love this because I feel like I know a
Yeah,
couple people who are doing the camper life, and I just see
yeah,
them traveling all over the world, and it's made me think about it. I'm like, just on Facebook Marketplace seeing all these campers
yeah.
listed. I'm like, okay, tempted.
I know.
Yeah.
It is very addicting. Like in 20 minutes, we can be like packed up and like gone. So, yeah, just that freedom.
And so I guess you did your co-hosting first, and then you found arbitrage. Now I guess continuing forward, are you going to do more co-hosting or arbitrage?
That's a great question. I would like to do a little of both. I guess I have like a monetary goal, like an income goal for co-hosting this year. For arbitrage, I would at least like to get two more. Well, I'll think big. At least four. If I got two, that would be great.
Mhm.
Um, I like the model, and not that I'm opposed to owning either, but just arbitrage. You kind of have more set expenses, I feel, and
Mhm.
so that's kind of nice. Where like our insurance and the condo in Orange Beach has like been just crazy.
Mhm.
Plus you have your HOAs and everything like that. So yeah, I would like to get, I guess, maybe three more like clients for co-hosting, and then, like I said, probably four arbitrages this year.
Okay. I love this. And both are like cash flow games, right? Is that why you did it?
Yes. Yeah, so I know everyone invests for different reasons. And yeah, obviously there's no tax benefits or like I'm not getting depreciation. But yeah, we're looking for cash flow right now, just to acquire more assets. So definitely building the wealth, but yeah, right now, cash flow for sure. I'm just became a full-time investor in May, so definitely just helping replace like what I've lost in my work, W-2. So,
Yeah. I love that. And also, by the way, this is Taco. Sorry, she's always
Yeah,
been me since
you
when
and
I decided to
Taco,
do lives.
a special guest.
Yeah. Um,
Cute.
so I guess so going back to like your first arbitrage, can you walk us through, how you evaluated your market, why you chose that market, and what kind of criteria you have when you're assessing whether it's going to be a profitable arbitrage or not?
Yeah, so my first one, I guess, um, I would say my second is what I talked about. The first one I got through my co-host. So he brought me this deal in Wilmington, North Carolina, and he had already been co-hosting one side or arbitraging one side of it. It's a townhome. So he was like, hey, this other side is like up for lease with furniture, so we could take it over. And so I did that. Less, I'll speak a little bit on lessons learned. Is I wish I would have done more of my own due diligence and not just trusting him fully, as well as having more of a sound contract. Like our contract with the landlord and us is very like loosey goosey, which I've learned. And so actually with that, I decided, or I told him like we can partner. Like I'm fine partnering on these, but I don't want to go
Mm-hmm.
further. And I don't love Wilmington's market. Actually, it does have like pretty much of a slow season, like starting November and doesn't really pick up till March.
Mm-hmm.
But I got my acquired my own rental arbitrage in Palm Harbor, Florida, so like Tampa Bay area. And so with that, when I was looking and what I currently look for in arbitrage is I want the annual income to be 2 times the rent, so the annual rent price. So
Mm-hmm.
that's gross revenue. But I want that 2 times, and then at least 60% occupancy. So when I'm looking like on AirDNA or Mashvisor, at those numbers, I want at least 60% occupancy. I feel like that's a good like number, especially when you're renting to make your income back. Um, and then I like off-street parking if possible. So I do a lot of single-family homes. I know there's plenty of people that do apartments. I haven't gone into apartments with arbitrage, but definitely parking. I like off-street parking, so driveway. And then if they have like a garage, I like that because I like to convert it into a game room if possible. Or, I mean, you could just keep it as a garage if there's space inside the home, which I've done. And then in the Florida market, a pool is a must. So I'm definitely looking for a pool. If it's heated, that's a bonus, but make sure it has solar, or I guess you can charge the guests. But a pool for sure, because again, that's how you're going to be with the competition or even stand out, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so those are what I look for. Obviously, location is the neighborhood, safe, quiet, in a nice area. Is it
Mm-hmm.
close to the beach? Is it close to, maybe stadiums if you're in Tampa? Or like, yeah, just major events or things that are going to draw people in with that.
Okay. I love this. This is awesome. And you said I noticed you mentioned a couple of the tools that you use. So you said AirDNA. What were some of the other ones?
Yeah, so the tools I use is to like research is AirDNA and then Mashvisor. And then
Okay.
I do like to do the enemy method, which I feel like Luke Carl kind of has phrased, but it's his, and it's just looking at other Airbnbs in like your vicinity of where you're looking and seeing what their amenities are,
Mm-hmm.
what's their nightly rate, what's their cleaning fee, how full is their calendar, and then really comparing and looking. So that's what I like to do, just seeing, yeah, what some of those amenities are, what our guests saying. Guests, let you know in the reviews. So I've seen some that like they didn't like the neighborhood because they were noisy. So
Mm-hmm.
that's telling like, okay, so there is, maybe some noise issues here.
Okay. And I guess so so you found a good market, you use these tools and you found a good area. So the next step
Yeah.
would be approaching the landlords. One, how do you find
Yeah.
the landlord? And two, what like scripts or tactics do you use to negotiate a favorable lease?
Yeah, those are great questions. So I like to just search on Zillow. So I'm putting in their criteria. So I'm putting in the area or even maybe specific zip codes. And then I'm filtering. So again, you'd want to see like what's the demand. So what are people looking for in the area on like house size or apartment size? So that kind of would determine like I like 3 or more bedrooms and then 2 or more bathrooms. So I'm really catering towards families or like bigger groups.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would filter. So, and then I would put in like the filter of the pool. So I want a pool. And then things that come up, then your property's listing and you're just reaching out. I would say you have a lot more success contacting the owner or like the person, even a property manager that's a name rather than like a big company. A lot of the bigger companies will tell you no right away or not even respond to you. So I like to look at those more so, like if it's an owner or someone with a name that I can reach out to. And then with my script, my first call or even my first message is just going to be education. So I use the word corporate housing or corporate leases, and I'm telling them who I am and what my business model is. And then for like favorable terms or like how I stand out from just a normal or like standard tenant is that I give them 5 reasons. So my first one is I tell them I have a high credit score, and I'll even say like the number, like 760. And then I would say I can guarantee you rent. I also have 6 months of rent set aside to pay you. I will have professional cleaners as well as professional designers come in. And I will also pay up to $250 per month in maintenance, like small maintenance issues. So you never have those pesky calls of like my leaks or my sink is leaking or, just anything like that. I will take care of those repairs for you.
Okay.
So, and then they're going to probably ask, like, what is corporate leasing? Or some might say, and like, oh, you're going to arbitrage it or you're Airbnb it. Which, of course, I will say, yes, I said that is a marketing platform that I use because, I mean, that's what it is. It's not necessarily like the strategy. It's just the platform you're using. And that's how, yes, I get my clients as well as other websites. And then I'll also share my own personal website or even, right away say, like, I'm happy to share even my own or my landlord's references for you to see how they like working with me.
Okay. I love this. Hold on. I'm going to let my dog out real quick.
Okay, no worries.
Oh my goodness. So how many, how many no's to your yeses do you usually get when you're talking to a landlord? Like, does it take you 4 or 5 no's or to get 1 yes?
Yeah. That's really good. I should know this off the top of my head because I do keep a spreadsheet. I would say probably, yeah, 7 to 10, possibly. I would say before like a maybe.
Okay.
And obviously that could differ, but yeah, I would say probably 7 to 10 no's. And that could be also too like just not answering. One thing is go to Facebook Marketplace and search there too. Because there you can see like if they read the messages and it seems like the people are more responsive. Okay. So that's just one other platform I like to use as well with Zillow.
Okay. I love to give people like a realistic view because I don't want them, calling a few times and then getting discouraged and being like, oh, I suck. And then just not continuing.
Yeah, that's so true because I feel like, yeah, some people can be like, it's so easy. Let's call this person. But no, so I've done it myself. And then I actually, this last time, I hired a virtual assistant to do cold calling for me. And he did it 2 hours a day, every day, just 5 days a week. And then, yeah, he would just obviously mark on the sheet like green if it was a warm lead, so they were interested. And then I would call them from there. But I definitely think it's good to like do it yourself first because I didn't get my script from anyone necessarily. Like it was after trial and error of like, okay, what can I say or what should I say to like have them more, the landlord open up a little bit more rather than just saying like, no, not interested, bye. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I guess when you're talking to these landlords, what are the biggest reasons that you're finding they're saying no?
Yeah, just having like a third party. So like I'm the renter, but then I'm renting it out again. So they don't know who's coming into their home. I mean, parties, that would be a big one as well. Damages with that. So like who's going to pay for that or how do you handle that? So a lot of debunking is like saying how we have cameras. We install cameras on the outside of the home. We have smart locks, so we can easily shut off a lock. As well as I have like a boots on the ground team, so I can, we can come over and handle the situation. And then I do provide, renters insurance. So we do have $1 million policy that covers, any incidences. And we are running a business, so I don't want the headaches as much as you do. I'm built off credibility in my reviews, so I need, the property to remain in upstanding condition in order to rent it out again and again. So it's always going to be ready for the landlord.
Right. I mean, you could almost argue your place is going to stay in better condition because it's consistently being cleaned and checked on. So if there are any problems, you find them a
Yeah.
lot quicker rather than, more long-term tenants who are going to sit on that problem like a sink leaking or something.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's so true.
And when you are reaching out to the property managers, have you ever like skip traced properties to just go straight to the owner?
No. Well, I shouldn't say no. I have like with our fix and flip venture, but not in this space. That does interest me though. I have talked with a couple other real estate investors that have done that, and
Mhm.
so that might be something I'll look into now this year.
Yeah.
But that would be nice, yeah. Because, yeah,
It's
like this one property I was really interested in, and I reached out, and the property management company did respond. But they instantly were like, no, the owner's not interested, like, or, like, we can't do that. And so it would be nice in that case to just talk with the owner.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if they almost feel threatened, like as like do they look at you as like competition? Because if you're managing the whole thing, do they even need a property manager at that point?
Right, which this last one actually, they did get rid of the property manager.
Hmm.
So they saved 10%, and I will that'll be that's a great point. That'll be part of my, negotiations or like positives is like, I can take away that 10% and put more money in your pocket every month because, yeah, you're right. I do it all. I manage it and everything.
Yeah, I mean that definitely sounds like. I mean, you get guaranteed rent, someone's managing it for you. You're actually getting more cash flow because now you don't have to pay for a property manager. I mean, it definitely seems like the way to go. I guess I can see a little bit of a hesitation with, I think definitely that comes down to trust and like looking at your
Yeah.
reviews and your credibility because I guess what
Mhm.
protections do the landlord have? Like say if they went under like they did a lease to someone who's going to be arbitraging it and then like they have bad tenants in there. It may or may not be at the fault of the landlord. Sometimes you just get bad tenants who are really loud. But for
Yeah.
some, say it's consecutive, they're getting a lot of complaints from the neighbors. What protections do the landlords have to be able to break that lease early if they need to?
Yeah, that's a good point. So I would say like their insurance, I know they can reach out for like insurance with the claims type thing, so that would be one level of protection. Um, but then as far as like the lease, I guess um it would probably be have to be written between us, which I guess I haven't. I've protected myself, to
Mm-hmm.
be honest with you, but for them, yeah, I would say insurance would be the first one, and then you would really want to vet the person, because I did talk with a landlord, and he had said that the last person tried to arbitrage and was ending the lease early, because he wasn't able to make the payments.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, I guess in there, I guess if you had to break least, like I would have to probably pay you if I, couldn't like still what I would owe you maybe a 3 month for those
Right.
3 months, and then yeah, walk
Okay.
away. Um, or if there was a violation, I guess that's what I can think of too. Like in the lease, if somehow I was violating, like letting people smoke in the home,
Mm-hmm.
and there was evidence of
Right.
that, like for sure a violation. Or pets, if the pet, because I have some owners that say you cannot have pets, and I do respect that. That's fine. So if I would have pets and they would have proof, that would be another violation to ending my lease with them early.
Yeah. I guess like I'm always thinking of worst case scenarios because I feel like if I can walk through the worst case scenario, then it's not as scary and then I feel more confident in the situation. So
Yeah.
say worst case scenario, you get a tenant in there and now they're refusing to leave. Would evicting them be on you or the landlord?
Yeah, it would be on me. So I would have to go through, and that's why I do have a lease for my guests as well, and have very like use that term guest and not
Mm-hmm.
tenant because your words matter. But yes, that would be on me to take action. So I actually had a domestic dispute at one of my rentals, that was arbitrage, and so I did take care of that. And so, Yeah, it is on you. I guess I view it like my property, even though it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But I would handle that. Now, if it did get like way out of control, I'm definitely gonna notify the landlord. But again, I would let them know like I'm gonna still handle this for
Mm-hmm.
you. Like I'm doing everything I can. I would seek like an attorney. Um,
Right.
and I'm sure other people maybe have different views, but that's how I would handle it and what I would do because yeah, I signed that contract saying like I'm gonna have guests and they are my responsibility.
Right. Okay. That's awesome.
Hmm.
And so I guess switching that now, what protections do you have as, an investor who's doing the arbitrage? And also because I know you said replace the doorknob, but like at what point do you stop replacing something? Like, is there a price point or do you fix a roof while you're doing
Yeah, yeah,
where's the
do it
boundary?
all. I'll remodel. No, yeah, no, that's a great question. So I say in my lease, so I'll use their lease if they want to use that lease, that's fine. But I do provide my own lease as well. And if they provide theirs, I always have like a note section where I write in. So definitely always make sure you have in there sublease is okay. Like get those words in there. That subleasing is okay, as well as changing door locks. So changing door locks. But yeah, with the maintenance piece, I say I do up to $250. If it is reoccurring, I do not pay for that then.
Okay.
So yeah, so if the sink keeps leaking or the faucet keeps leaking, I'm not every month just going to keep paying. So I would say like the second repeatable thing, I'm going to reach out to the owner and say, listen, I paid for this. Here's my receipt. Now it's your turn. I have had a water leak. So again, I called the landlord. This water leak is happening. I view that as a capital expenditure. And so again, in my lease, I put that as well. So capital expenditures, I'm not taking care of
Mhm.
as long as they're not guest inflicted.
Right.
So if a guest would have, I don't know, cut the water line or whatever, then like, okay, then I would handle that with the guest and with, their security deposit or whatnot.
Okay.
But yeah, so no, I'm not going to fix your roof. So I have that written in there. Also,
Got
being
it.
in Florida, I do have that I can exit in 2 months if a natural disaster would come and shut me down,
Mm.
that I can exit without paying the penalties of breaking the lease early.
Smart.
So I do have that in there as well as I have just a notice, a 60-day notice you have to give me if you're going to sell the property or put it on the market.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then I actually just recently, because someone said they did this too, so I had my like attorney look at it too, but we have in there, I can't think of the exact wording, but like even a clause that if business is doing well, then like that I have obviously permission to automatically renew or like even maybe look at like the sale of that and seeing like if we can adjust it before they decide to put it on the market
Oh, like giving
to keep the
you
property,
first
like
dibs.
to keep the business going. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. I love that. Somehow being able to get first dibs on the property would be nice.
Yeah, so
So you put in all that
which
work.
that was a tip from someone else. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
nice. But yeah, like I said, just the more you can have spelled out, the better it is. Like I said, with that first partnership, our contract is so like loosey goosey that I'm like, ugh. But yeah, just having everything spelled out. Like if you're in a house, who takes care of the lawn care, the pool care,
Yeah.
things like that. As well as like I said, like I like to paint and like even wallpaper my unit. So like having that in there that like I can do all that with the promise that I'll turn it back how it was. So if your walls were gray, I'm gonna repaint them gray.
Okay. I like this. This is awesome. All this information
Yeah.
is so great. Thank you. We
Yeah,
do have
no,
a
I'm
question.
happy to share all my lessons learned. So
I mean,
yeah,
that's the best way to learn, right? Just to get started. And sometimes, like you said, it can be a little,
exactly.
walking in the gray area, but eventually get
Yes.
on the other side in the green. You said you
Yes.
did ask, what are some advantages of doing rental arbitrage over buying a property aside from avoiding, to invest more capital, 30% down payment?
Yeah, I would say just the flexibility. So you can go to these different markets and get in pretty quickly over buying a home. So I could go tomorrow and rent something in, Austin, Texas, and you could even rent something for 6 months if it came furnished already, which can be possible nowadays. You might not even have to furnish it. And then in 6 months, if it's not working out, just end your lease and move on. So the flexibility piece and seeing different markets. as well as, yeah, I mean, just low capital getting into
Yeah.
it. I've negotiated like the furniture coming with it and getting into a property as low as 3,000. I know some people can even get in probably for like zero, or like I've heard of their payments, like your first rent isn't due until the next month.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just say those advantages. And then again, like I said, insurance. My insurance, I use proper insurance. I pay $126 a month, and I've had my properties now over 2 years, and that, or over a year, and that hasn't changed. Where, like I said, like my condo insurance has gone up 10%. So that
Yeah.
really stinks. And so, and my rent hasn't increased yet. I've signed 2-year leases, so that would be another way to like lock yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you know, you don't really have very much like variable expenses. Um, or like I don't pay property tax, obviously, you know, so that's another savings over a home. And like I said, like if there's a natural disaster, like we had Milton and Helene,
Mm-hmm.
that's not up to me. That was up to the land, you know, the owner. They had to come get the tree branches, and they had to come fix their fence. And
Yeah.
so I don't have some of those big expenses that you do as a homeowner. If my dishwasher goes out, I get to call my landlord still, you
Mm-hmm.
know, so, and then still make rental income as well.
You know what I feel like would be a great strategy? Because like as you're talking through this, I'm like, okay, it's quick, it's convenient, you can start tomorrow, you don't need a lot of down. But and I know one of the processes is looking on Zillow for these properties. I feel like another strategy you could try too is going on Airbnb, finding listings that don't maybe like and just like following up with maybe a home like
Yeah.
Airbnb owners on there to see if they'd be open to arbitrage because there's a lot of tired Airbnb operators out
Yeah.
there who I feel like would like to have a break but still get that extra income. Might be a little bit of a pay cut since they can't do as
Yeah.
much as you would for Airbnb otherwise there'd be no wiggle room for you to make profit.
Right.
But I feel like that could be another possible strategy too to or even like you said post on in Facebook marketplace Facebook groups that
Mhm.
are designated for Airbnb owners in certain states
Yep.
post in there, hey, I'm looking to arbitrage, is anybody looking to take a step back and let me manage the property? I feel like you would get
Yeah.
so many hits.
I'm glad yeah, I'm glad you actually brought that up because that's what I've done. So in some cases where like we can't meet on rent price, um, I will offer them co-hosting too. So kind of doing the flip of that, I guess.
Mhm.
But yeah, even arbitraging as well. Like, yep, I arbitrage. Or like you said, there are tired landlords or Airbnb hosts out there.
Mhm.
So yeah, either arbitrage, you know, let's turn this back into a long term, but your furniture looks great, so that is a win-win for you and I. You don't have to sell it or anything. Or, hey, I'll co-host for you. You know, you're still getting a good income or percentage of that income, but you don't have to do anything anymore.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And let me see. So I guess when you're talking to, and I know you said you had the insurance. So you only have the one insurance, and that protects everything. So if like a plate breaks, you can call and get like reimbursement for that.
So Airbnb does air cover, and they do up to $1 million. So you could even, like I said, say that with your landlord, like, yes, I have you know, because you do have air coverage, which will cover you. Verbo has a type of it where it's a damage protection, but the guest pays that back, or you can do security deposit.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I do like air cover will cover you. And then I also have Guesty has like a damage protection
Mm-hmm.
too. So that's nice because it doesn't even go to the guest. So like they could still leave you a 5-star review, but they broke your bed. You could just go submit that damage claim and get reimbursed, and they wouldn't even know. But yeah, so that's what I use. So Airbnb coverage. I do security deposits because I do have a direct booking website. So that would be part of my protection. And then yes, this a proper insurance is more for like disasters, I guess, not so much like you have furniture breaking.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be like bed bugs. So like if we have bed bugs and remediation, like it'll cover all that, and it would cover your lost rent. So let's say you have a guest checking in, but they have to cancel, so they would cover that loss of income.
Okay.
And then like because I have pools, that really kind of not freak me out, but like that's something to think of. Like drownings do happen, or
Yeah.
terrible things happen, so they will cover that as well. So anything incidences with a pool. And yeah, they're super easy to work with, and
Mhm.
I definitely think it's worth it, like I said.
And I know you said you did like contracts, employment contracts, and so are you mainly doing short-term rentals like through Airbnb, or are you doing the midterm rentals as well?
Yeah, so no, I do short-term rentals. I do some midterms, but not with the arbitrage model. I do that with the like my owners more so, but I still for my short-term rentals just have an agreement. So like I said, I don't use tenant. I'll use it's just called vacation rental agreement, and it uses the word guest. But I just like to reiterate my house rules. So anything I've listed on Airbnb or like Verbo is like in there. So like you have to be 21 or older, or like no smoking, pets. So that's what I have, and then I send them that. But when I'm speaking with landlords, yeah, it does sound more businessy, like corporate professionals. We house nurses. I will say like families coming to the area, because that's one thing too. Some people will be like, okay, so 30-day rentals. Well,
Hmm.
I want the flexibility, so I'll say like, yes, we try to fill with 30-day rentals, but we do like to fill in all possible days, so we do 2-night minimums for some cases when we do have to fill in.
Okay.
So,
Are you
yeah.
are you more towards Airbnb because it's giving you better cash flow and better occupancy, or is it like why are you doing more short-term rental over the midterm rental?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yes, the nightly rate is going to be better cash flow. I mean, you can make good money too with midterm rentals, which because of Helene and Milton, I did get a long or a midterm renter in there in one of mine,
Mhm.
which it has been nice because they just kind of take care of everything and you don't really hear from them.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm definitely not making as much as I could. So for their rent, just to be candid, so my rent I pay $3,100. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with a pool, garage, and then I'm charging them 4,700. So
Okay.
because because two, everyone's gonna be different as well. But for my like cash flow, for my net income a month, I want at least $1,000.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit short, but like that's still good. Just because, like I said, I am renting these properties. I don't want to just do it for fun. Like,
Mhm.
so that's my like minimum.
Okay.
So where like, sorry, this last in Palm Harbor, just at home 20 minutes away, this last month I think I did around 8,000.
Wow. Awesome.
So yeah, like so that's why. So you can make a lot more on the nightly rate than the midterm, even though obviously like yeah, I'm still paying like a decent amount for this rent, and then even they're willing to pay me for
Yeah.
multiple months 4,700. So
Wow.
yeah.
Numbers speak for itself.
Yeah, I mean, so that's why. But you do have, more headaches where if you just want to kind
Right.
of sit back, relax, the midterm is super nice. Like I do definitely like that model
Mhm.
as well.
Okay. And I know, so you go out and you find the property and then you find the tenant. Have you been doing any of like the reverse arbitrage strategy where you're finding the tenant first and then finding the property?
That's funny you bring that up. So who? Oh, I was talking with Jamie. Jamie had a client she's working with Monday, and she was talking about how she's building out boards for reverse arbitrage. And I was like, what is that? I'd never heard of it. So no, I do not do that. But I have had some people call me because I like to use Zillow too for like my midterm rentals, just because it's free and like eyeballs. So I've had some people call me saying that like we have a tenant that we could place in, or we work with people that we are looking for housing. I don't do that model, I guess. I'm obviously willing to like host them if they want to, but no, just recently, like this fall, heard about that.
Yeah, you should pick her brain more. She's definitely a great one to learn from.
Yeah, yes, for sure. But no, that's funny, yeah.
And so, I mean, exactly what you said before too, like 8,000, that's an amazing number. I guess what are you doing to your properties to make them stand out against your competition?
Yeah, and I guess that's part of the reason why I like short-term rentals because you can be, I feel like more designed, which maybe people would argue with me about that, but I just feel like the amenities and like the funness, I guess. I like to add murals to mine, even though it is a rental.
Mhm.
I have been able to find like budget-friendly muralist that has painted them. So that you could even just do fun wall color, so just a pop of color as well as like a throw blanket, the pillows. So just making it more like scroll stopping,
Mhm.
and not, just everything. It's not gray walls. I also think too, like furniture cohesion, uh, yeah, the more we get away from COVID, I feel like we can't just throw up a property on Airbnb and
Yeah.
someone's gonna book it. Like they're definitely looking for like the coolness factor or like how it's styled.
Hmm.
Like I said, amenities. So I've added game rooms even before, and then having the pool and heated and advertising
Yeah.
that, as well as just like your listing description too, like in title, like that all matters. And professional photos. There's
Okay.
so many people still, that don't use professional photos.
Mhm.
So even just that first glance, I can stand out compared to someone else that even maybe has better, amenities than I do, but their photos stink.
Yeah. I mean, I've also seen people do like drone videos of like the whole property, like if they have a lot of
Yeah.
landscaping amenities. That seems kind of
Yes, which so I do have some video that I mean, I feel like I have some that do and some that don't, and it's kind of a toss. But yeah, that is nice because I'm a very visual person, so I do like to do layouts too
hmm
in my photos just to help like gauge like how the house is set up. Or yeah, it is nice to do the video and the drone footage as well. Especially like you said, if they have like a sweet backyard or very nice landscaping or maybe like close to great amenities,
Yeah.
it's definitely worth it.
Are you seeing anybody kind of overdo it with like is that even a thing where people can overdo promoting their their Airbnb or no?
I don't think so. I mean, especially like I feel like Rob built and like some of those, high-end luxury, like they're going crazy.
Mhm.
Which again, but their price point's also really high.
Mhm.
So I don't know, I don't think you can go like too much. I guess just for me, I'm more minimalistic in so like sometimes I do see like people really like pack in the amenities like like kids' toys. Like I see that a lot, and I'm just like, that'd be a nightmare for my cleaner. And then just you keeping track of it or like not breaking it.
Right.
So, but obviously it does get booked a lot too, because that's one of my enemies that I look at. They're in my area, so I do keep track. So, but I just for me it does look cluttered. That I don't know.
Yeah. I was just trying to think if there were any that maybe you don't see a return on. I guess like that costs more money than it's worth or no.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of them are kind of standard. Like,
Yeah.
the fire pit is nice. I think gathering areas, but anything you wouldn't get a return on, not that I can think at the top of my head, I guess.
Well, that's good. Then you
Yeah,
can be as creative as you want.
I'm trying to think now. But yeah, I can't think of anything right now.
Well, I just have a few more questions for you. What is like
Yeah,
one mistake you made early on, and how can others avoid it when starting rental arbitrage?
nice. So going back to my partner, I think partnerships are key and can be key, but making sure you like vet your partner properly and you have the same goals and like vision, especially like what roles you're gonna do.
Mhm.
And then with that, don't like you said, like blindly trust your partner. It comes back to that contract. So this landlord is not always the best. Like we've had to have some issues with like the AC unit. So thinking about that, like yes, you're going to deal with the guest, but you also have to deal with your landlord and how will you do that with in a timely manner. So if an AC unit does go out, what are you going to do, to help make their stay more enjoyable if you have a guest there? Um, so that would be my biggest thing. I wish we would have got more things spelled out in our contract because it has come to bite us in the butt sometimes. Like I said, like the lawn care has been a struggle with this landlord. Um, we had AC unit issue, we had a fridge issue, and just kind of like keeping on them to be timely.
Right.
Where I have other landlords that, oh yeah, no problem, and they got it, get it fixed like right away. So I think that would be the biggest takeaway. Just yeah, making sure you have a solid contract, and if they want to use their contract, fine, but making sure you get what you want, again, spelled out like in a note section or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like do you include a time frame of when these big fixes need to be I guess, fixed? Like, but do you have like a 24-hour turnaround? Otherwise, maybe you get a deduction because I mean that's money coming out of your pocket because if you can't book because there's a problem and they're taking 2 weeks to get a contractor out.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I say 48 hours in mine. And then I guess that's a good point. I should say something with monetary. I don't, I guess, just because I would probably rely on my proper insurance
Mhm.
or guesty for doing
Mhm.
that. But no, I do have like, yeah, 48 hours. Like it needs to be addressed. Just because, yeah, like they could ho-hum around it because, too, I feel like a lot of people still view you as a long-term tenant and that, well, you should take care of it or that should be on you or, certain stuff like that and not considering like, no, I'm running a business, like, and people are depending on me.
Yeah. Well, I could see even like some, shady landlords saying, "Oh, your tenant caused this," and then try to, like make it like a really long process of trying to go
Yeah.
through the like saying, "Oh no, your tenant had to do that because it was fine before they moved in," or something like that.
Yes,
So
yeah.
I guess like a meet
Which,
in the middle. I'm wondering if you could say, rather than like a penalty, say, okay, if you haven't fixed this or shown proof that you're in the process of fixing it within, 48 hours, you give up your rights and I'm going to go find my own
right.
contractor. So at least it gives you the
Yeah.
right to say, oh, well, your contractor can get this done in a month. Mine can get this done in 3 days. So I'm going to pay for it. And then now you're bound to pay me back.
Yeah. No, that's huge for sure. I like that language. Yeah, that's even smart too. Like I said, luckily, like he does have his own contractors, but I have had to hire my own too, just
Yeah.
to take matters in my own hand. But for the most part, yeah, the other ones, they're fine with me using who I use, and they're just
Mhm.
like, we just want to know how much it is, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. But yeah, I'm gonna write that down for next time for my to make some updates because yeah, that is a very good
So I feel
point.
like that's the next best thing is like getting that power back and then also having the
Yeah.
reassurance that they will be liable to pay you back. Um,
Yes.
I guess because I know you said you don't replace expenditures unless it could be caused by your tenant. Do you have in place in your contract like what those qualifications are? Like how much proof does that landlord need to be able to determine that the problem was caused by your tenant?
No, no. I guess I've just done photo proof. So like the pipes, I had like what the plumber had said written, and then like proof of the pipes. Like you could tell they were old, they were corroded.
Yeah.
Now with pool equipment, I do clearly state like with the guests multiple times, like do not touch the pool equipment. Like leave it,
Yeah.
or it will be a $3,000 like expense.
Okay.
So I do have that, and like that would be on me, I feel like, because again, who's really touching, the pool
Yeah.
equipment? So, and then too, I mean, we do like before photos, like moving condition checklist, just like as their
Okay.
standard tenant would. So
Hmm.
we do document all that as well. So that would help to be like, well, this wasn't like this, and like, well, yes, yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Here's the photo.
Yeah.
So I do, and that would be important too, like your cleaner or handyman or get someone to help you
Hmm.
like make these documentations with photos and everything.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me feel better because I'm like,
Yeah.
I hope for the best, but I expect the worst. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping
Oh, yeah.
to like have a partner who's a slumlord, but at the same time, if they try to say like the fridge broke because my tenant and it's not my tenant's fault, then I could see them
Yeah.
trying to like kind of like milk you for money.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
And I think it's good too, like even though they're interviewing you or, checking you out for how well a tenant you are, like do the same to them. Like
yeah,
I've definitely talked with potential landlords that I knew would be just a nightmare, that I was just like, you know what, I'm not interested in moving forward, or I don't think, we can make something here. So definitely vet them out and see, even like I've gotten them to do work before I move in per se, like,
yeah.
here's some issues I saw. I want them addressed just to know we don't have any issues going forward.
Hmm.
So are they responsive to that? Are they okay with that? Are they kind of throwing a stink? And then, like I said, before you sign anything, maybe just say like, you know what, we decided to go in a different
Yeah.
direction. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I guess, I'm kind of thinking right now, my mind's just kind of going all over the place. I
Yeah,
forgot this.
no.
But I guess something would be cool. I don't know. Do you guys have any arbitrage communities?
No, I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. So like Jorge Contreras has like that community, but arbitrage specific, I follow people on Instagram. But no, I feel like I don't have like a community per se.
Like I
No,
feel
I
like
can't really think of it.
I feel like something maybe if this is something you would want to do or consider is starting a Facebook group for rental arbitrage and then taking it an extra mile. I mean, if you know how to vet these landlords and determine whether they would be good for arbitrage or not, and then you also know how to kind of talk them through it and like help them understand the opportunity that you're giving them. I mean, you could do that, I feel like, on a mass scale, and then you don't even need to take it yourself. You could just get a list
Yeah.
of properties of Airbnb owners who or landlords who are willing to arbitrage, post it in your community, and then maybe take like a finder's fee, and then connect
Yeah.
that landlord with someone who's interested in that area, and that could be another possible passive income.
Yeah, no, that is true. That is huge. I think like Formula B&B does a model like that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like there's always people looking. I mean, so there is those communities like now Jorge does it too. I've seen that. Like it's
Okay.
ready for you. Like we have. So I guess like yeah, that is. But no, that is a great point because yeah, that would be nice if someone was just like, here you go. But what I would say in myself is like I'd want more integrity. Nothing against them, but some of them I have seen
Mhm.
that will like hand you off. It's like this is like grandma's furniture. Like these numbers that you're claiming are not, like so that
Yeah.
makes me kind of mad because my partner actually got involved with that, and so he like had some money tied up into it, and he was like, well, I think maybe we should like look for something, and like they would send you lists or different things. But I was like, there's no way, and they wanted like $5,000 to like $10,000 in finder's fees, and I was just like, no thank.
Dang.
Like, unfortunately, like I can DIY this and call and like,
Yeah.
or have a, I said, or have a VA,
Yeah.
like do this for way less. But so
Yeah.
that I like that idea, and I guess I would want to do like actually like nice properties because I do feel like sometimes people don't know, but at the same time, they shouldn't just be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
not every
maybe.
property is going to be a great property that you should do, even if the landlord's cool with it.
Yeah. And and I mean, and if you start to build this community, I mean, some people might not want to arbitrage forever. So maybe there's someone who's arbitraging in
Yeah.
your area is ready to retire, and maybe they can just hand off the contract to you because now you've built that relationship, and they're ready to kind of go through that next phase of their investing.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's so true. Yeah. That's a
Okay.
great idea. Really, you're always just got so many ideas.
I'm here to help.
Yeah.
No,
No, I
I
was
love
gonna say you were,
brainstorming.
yeah, so helpful. Yeah, even just on our pre-call, like we were listening on these social media tips. I'm like, dang.
You bring the best out of me. You're
Oh.
easy to talk to. And I guess, let me check. I want to make sure we got all the key questions here. Oh, one of the biggest questions too that I had with being remote, what is one of your biggest challenges that you've had working remotely and how have you worked through it?
Being remote is a challenge. So yeah, I just think like when things do go like I guess I think not so much only just arbitrage, but also like working with the owners. Sometimes I do feel a little bit like I don't know, helpless or like, oh, but then I'm like, well, they hired me and they knew I was remote. But just sometimes when there is issues and I can't necessarily be there, so to fix it, even if it's a simple fix, and sometimes like I have an owner that's pretty hands-on, which is nice, but just wanting to help him out too. But I do have like that's why your cleaning or handyman would be so valuable.
Mhm.
And when I hire cleaners, I make sure they can do like light maintenance or could help me in a pinch. So that's always one question, and so relying on them. So just being able to, I guess, like kind of give up that control. Know you're gonna probably have to pay a plumber, and sometimes it's on Saturday night, so it's gonna be a $500 bill. Um, but it is what it is. So I guess just knowing that and having that grace and like flexibility. But that would be my biggest thing. Like it's really not that big of an issue as long as you have like good cleaners and good handymen.
Mhm.
I've definitely went through a few cleaners because my guests were privately messaging me or just stuff like that, and I can't have that happen. And just I can't have someone also taking advantage knowing I'm remote.
Mhm.
So just I always make sure like I'm very clear with that, but like my expectations as well. Um, so I don't know if that, but yeah, being remote, but just having a key team is huge, I think. And like I said, just knowing, unfortunately, there are going to be some maintenance issues, but most things you can handle, in an okay manner and guests understand.
Yeah.
And even if you want to give a little refund, that goes a long ways too.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Okay.
Luckily, I haven't had too many issues, but I have had a couple plumbing bills that have kind of stunk. But
Yeah, I mean, so when you're vetting these cleaners and these contractors, are there any red flags that people should be looking out for? Like, where if they were to say one thing, you're like, nope, that's not for me.
um, so it's gotten more so. It wasn't at the beginning, but I would say if they're a one-person show. So I'm the only cleaner, and so that would be something that would concern me. And then as well as like if they have, I don't know, additional fees. Like I know everyone does need like
Mhm.
money or like make a living, but like that kind of, because then it can get kind of a lot. So sometimes like that will deter me. Like if they have a little fees for everything,
Mhm.
then I'm like, okay, it's probably going to be a lot for them to ask them to change the door
Mhm.
batteries. Um, so that would be something. But yeah, I just have the upfront, honest conversations like, how do you handle constructive criticism? Are you okay with going back if I have a guest say that it wasn't cleaned up to their standards? So listening how they respond to that, maybe like, well, that doesn't happen to me, or like, so I would probably caution that if they're like not receptive to that, or if they're like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, no problem, like that's not a big deal. That would be. Photos, I guess if they cannot send photos, I don't want to work with
Yeah.
them. That's just me. Like everyone has a smartphone, so you can send a photo. I
Right.
even require that for most of my vendors too. Like when I'm calling around, I'll ask them like, if you complete a job, I need to see a photo. Even if it's like A1 plumbing, like I'm still asking them for that. So those would be kind of, yeah, the ones that I can think off the top of my head. Like, because
Okay.
Airbnb too now are like, so many people are, if there's a damage, are requesting a lot of photos. So that
Mhm.
really needs to protect you.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
photo evidence, video evidence is how you do it.
Okay. I love this. Thank you. That was so much great
Yeah.
information. This has been amazing. I guess as we wrap up, is there anything else you would like to add? Tips, tricks, anything that you would like to leave the audience with? You've already given so much, I know, but
Yeah. Just for, I guess we didn't really cover this, but furniture, one way to remote furnish a place, because I have done it, is utilizing handyman. You can utilize a designer as well. It's probably going to run you like $5,000 plus the cost of furniture. Where a handyman, like I found one that did, I'd say 90% of the work, so I sent it all to their house, and it was about $2,800, so quite a bit less. And I just used Google presentation to show them room by room on what I wanted furnished, like how I wanted it furnished and everything. So that would be something. And then with furniture cost, I know I always like like to just keep going with my budget, but I try to do $10 to $15 per square foot. So when I think about my furniture cost, I don't want to really exceed that amount, and $15 would be on the more higher
okay.
end.
Okay.
So really just taking that into consideration, because again, I mean, you are renting this unit and things could happen, in a year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, maybe they sold the property, and then, you got to think about pivoting there. But
Right.
that would be my only tip is, yeah, just furnishing from afar.
Okay. And where do you find the furniture? Do you have specific companies or just Facebook Marketplace?
I do like Facebook Marketplace, but those are kind of tricky again because you would have to make sure your handyman can go do it. But it's
Mhm.
just an honest conversation with them. Could go pick up the furniture or whatnot. I do like Amazon. I definitely have like staples that I use, trial and error.
Mhm.
Um, Wayfair is good. Walmart, I feel like Walmart's really nice.
Mhm.
I get a lot of like my dishware from there.
Okay.
If I could be local, though, I would shop local, like Home Goods. The South has old time pottery in certain locations. That's a really great store.
Okay.
But yeah, those are kind of, I guess, my easy go-to. I
Mhm.
know Minoan, but I have like I signed up, but I've never shopped there. But I know like Wayfair Partners, I think Home Goods. There's some other stores and they do discounts as well.
Okay. And which parts, or I guess, which furniture do you usually splurge a little bit more on over others?
So your bed, I mean, I'm looking at my, I pretty much have the same beds I use, but that would be an area I would splurge on because that's what people are gonna probably complain about.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be a little bit more. I also like to splurge like on amenities, so games. I like outside and indoor games, as well as like pool floaties. I mean, that's not huge splurging, I guess. Murals, that's not furniture though, but I do like murals or like paint of some kind, again, just like stand
Mm-hmm.
out. A couch would be, I like a pull-out couch if possible, so that's going to be a more ticket item or a higher ticket item.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would, and I guess your towels and linens,
Mm-hmm.
I would say try to do those really nice, especially more quality where the turnovers are not going to wear out on you as
Yeah.
fast. So finding higher quality.
You know what would be cool, and I don't know like how well this would work, but might be something to look into. It could save you money with a handyman. Is I wonder if there's like any near colleges where there are students majoring
Mhm.
in interior design who you could set up an internship with, and then they could go and set up your Airbnb. So now they could even help you pick out materials, find the best deals. I mean, that could be all part of the internship, and now you don't have to pay a handyman, and they would be able to pick out the material, set it up in a nice way, and then now they have the experience too to build up their career.
Yeah, that's genius. That's so good. Another great idea. Yeah, I love that. That's, yeah, amazing.
Save some money and
Yeah,
help out a student.
no, for real. And it's a win-win because they could use it in their portfolio and
Yep.
experience. And yeah, like you said, save
Yeah,
money.
exactly. And now you have your on the ground boots team.
Yeah, yeah, seriously. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. That's amazing. And I guess as we wrap up, if people want to learn more from you or I pick your brain a little bit more, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm pretty active on Instagram. I try to shoot or have live content out every day. So Sarah underscore Pell underscore,
Okay.
or I do have a website, cpvacationhomes.com.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would love if people want to reach out. I always love to talk about it and just share or hear from other people and their experiences as well.
Yeah. And are you co-hosting for all different types of states or only certain areas?
Yeah, no, I will co-host wherever. So I co-host right now in Pensacola and in Illinois. But yeah, no, I'm open to other markets, especially like I said, the technology I would use to vet how my own property and just yeah, I'll run analysis on what I think your property could do and even to offer insight just if you feel like your property could use a facelift.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more than happy just to share some insights where I think you could add to.
Yeah. I love this. Thank you so much. Thank you for just being such a giver and just coming on and sharing all of your experience. I know this is going to help a lot of people who are interested in like doing rental arbitrage. And I feel like just from learning from other people's experiences is the best way to, I feel
Oh
like,
yeah.
take a few steps ahead and skip everything that, we had all to learn the hard way.
Yeah,
So
no, I totally agree. Yeah.
but thank you so much for coming on, and you're amazing. Just keep doing what you're doing, and I'm glad that people now know how to reach out to you. If you guys aren't following her already, please do. She's awesome, and I love your content. I have been seeing you post more.
Thank you, Miranda. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is so fun. I love Instagram Live.
Yes, yay! All right, I will talk to you later. Bye, everyone.
Bye, thank you.